Early winter bass fishing can be a frustrating time of the year for the trophy bass angler. However, a suitable lake will make bass fishing your most rewarding at the right time. We were not internet anglers and were working class fishing guides providing our account of what works for the best winter bass fishing equipment. Good luck, and don't forget bass doesn't go big unless you keep it big. Bass fishing in the wintertime can give you access to bigger fish in quieter days on the lake. With some general knowledge, it's also not that difficult. All you need to do is adjust to the wintertime habits of bass and try your luck at winter fishing. To help you do just that, here is the expert guide to winter bass fishing. We'll help you figure out what bait to use when to head out and where to fish.
Welcome to this fish channel. Watch the full video to learn more about winter bass fishing.
Best baits for winter bass fishing. Before you set out to bass fish in the winter, remember that the fish's metabolism is at an all-time low. This means their digestive system can't handle larger bait, so it's better to keep it simple. Opt for lightweight bait. A quarter ounce or, at most, 3/8 of an ounce is as heavy as you need, and there's seldom a reason for bait to exceed 3.5 inches in length. Some good examples of winter bass bait include a Rapala shad wrap, a hair jig, and soft plastic bait fish. If you use a hair jig, remember that you don't need a trailer. A bit of deer hair will work just fine. Some people try to go larger, but if you want to get as many bites as possible and increase your odds of catching a big fish, keep it small and light. These guys don't have their warm weather appetite. When to catch bass in the winter. When it comes to wintertime bass fishing, many people think that the afternoon is the only good time to fish. Indeed, the hours between 2 p.m. and sunset are often some of the best hours to fish. The sun has warmed up the water, the bait fish are active, and the bass are moving around. Afternoons are especially good on particularly cold days. However, afternoons aren't your only option. Daylight is also one of the best times to catch bass, smallmouth bass in particular. If you're out from an hour or so before sunrise until a few minutes after the sun comes up, you're going to be almost sure to get some bites. Water depths. It's key to remember that depth is relative and how deep you fish all depends on the lake you're fishing. Some lakes only get 10 feet deep, while others are 40 or 50 feet deep. If bass likes to spend their summers at a depth of 10 feet in a given lake, head out to where it gets 30 or 40 feet deep. If they spend their summers in 3 feet of water, head out to where it's 10 feet deep. It tends to be helpful to situate your boat near the deeper parts of the lake, but this doesn't mean you have to be right on top of the deepest part of the body of water. You also have to monitor water clarity. In many ways, clarity is even more important than water warmth, so you may want to consider some innovations in bass fishing like the Humminbird 360 image trolling motor system. Our obsession, blogs, fishing, Brandon Palaniuk on new electronics for bass fishing so you can see the bottom as well as all around your boat for the best fish. As a general rule, the dirtier the water, the shallower the bait fish will be. The clearer the water, the deeper the bait fish will be. Bass will follow the bait fish even though they aren't feeding like they were in the fall or summer. Like everyone else, they just like to be near their food source, and, for this, clarity is a better determinant than water warmth of how deep the bass and the bait fish will swim. Feeding patterns. In the winter, bass turn to much of the same food sources they do at other times of the year, they just eat less of it. Crawfish might go away for the winter, meaning the crawfish baits may work. However, shad or baitfish imitation baits are a safer bet. Here's why. When it gets cold, baitfish have the habit of dying out. They don't often die out completely, but you will likely see little red fins floating on the surface. They can't take the cold that well. This means that bass will be eager to find and eat more baitfish, making shad and baitfish imitation baits good choices. Umbrella rigs are also a good idea, as they imitate schools of baitfish well. Winter bass fishing secrets. When you head out fishing in winter, it's essential to have a realistic set of expectations to know when you've actually been successful. If you have realistic expectations, you'll be able to monitor how you're doing and not get discouraged. Bass don't bite in the winter like they do in the spring or summertime. On a good day, you may get 10 bites. A great day might look like 12 to 15 bites, with an amazing day being around 20 bites. The average size of the fish tends to be better in the winter. They've had all year to get big, and now you can enjoy a larger fish. Finally, remember that bass needs access to deeper water. This doesn't mean they need water that's 50 feet deep. Deeper is relative to the body of water in question. Can you catch bass in cold weather? There is a prevalent myth surrounding cold weather bass fishing. You've got no chance at a catch if it's past autumn. This notion has to do with the cold-blooded nature of the fish. Dropping temperatures can seriously affect their body functions, most notably, a slowing metabolism. With food metabolizing slower than usual, it reduces a bass need to feed as regularly, but this does not mean they do not eat in winter months. So yes, while cold weather does make it a little tougher to pull in a catch, despite what you may read, there are still fish that will chase bait, even in frigid temperatures. Slow your bait's movement. Imagine you were a cold-blooded animal with frigid water flowing through your body for at least 3 months. Your movements would probably slow down, too. To have the best chance at a catch, many talented anglers recommend mirroring the bass winter movement patterns. This means keeping your bait's action slow, steady, and lethargic. Because bass will be moving much slower in the cold weather, they're more likely to go for a bite they don't have to fight for. Keep your bait near the bottom of the body of water and keep it steady. Be patient. As you've probably noticed from reading through this tip list, fishing for winter bass isn't easy. But even though it's not the easiest task in the world, it's also not impossible. The process will definitely take more time than you're probably used to, so for this reason, it's most important to be patient and not stare at your watch counting the minutes. Final word. Whether you're preparing to try your hand at bass fishing for the first time or you want to improve your growing skill set, this expert guide can help you make the most of your wintertime trip. Remember to select your bait for the slow digestive system of the bass and head out in daylight or during the afternoon. Bear in mind that necessary depth is relative and that water clarity is, in many ways, even more important than water warmth. Follow the feeding patterns, which also have a lot to do with the temperature and water clarity. Finally, make sure you've set realistic expectations. If you do all of these things, you stand a much better chance at a good day of fishing and catching sizable winter bass.
Subscribe to our channel to keep up with new content. Your subscription, support, and feedback are much appreciated.